What if your daily choices are screaming truths you're too afraid to hear? Here's something nobody wants to admit. The person you think you are and the person you actually are might be complete strangers. You've got this carefully curated image in your head, this highlight reel of intentions and values. But reality? Reality tells a completely different story. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your behavior instead of listening to your excuses? I'm not talking about what you say you care about. I'm talking about what you actually do when no one's watching. Because that's where the truth lives. Not in your Instagram bio. Not in your New Year's resolutions. In the mundane, repetitive actions you take every single day. Research from behavioral economics shows that humans are wildly inconsistent when it comes to self-perception. We see ourselves through a lens of intentions, while the world experiences us through our actions. And that gap, that's where most people lose themselves. They're so busy maintaining the narrative that they forget to check if the narrative matches reality. Think about it. You say you want financial freedom, but you blow money on stuff you don't need. You say relationships matter, but you're glued to your phone during dinner. You say health is a priority, but your body tells a different story. These aren't character flaws. They're data points. Raw, unfiltered information about who you actually are versus who you pretend to be. The uncomfortable truth is that your actions are brutally honest. They don't care about your trauma, your backstory, or your perfectly crafted reasons for why things are the way they are. Actions just are. They create results. They build patterns. They write the code of your existence, line by line, choice by choice, moment by moment. Most people spend their entire lives running from this reality. They build elaborate defense mechanisms, surround themselves with people who validate their delusions, consume content that confirms their biases, anything to avoid looking at the hard data, anything to maintain the comfortable fiction. But what if you stopped running? What if you actually looked at the source code of your life? Not the marketing version you show the world, but the raw back-end data, the search history, the bank statements, the calendar, the messages you send at 2 in the morning. That's where the truth lives. You want real change? Stop worshiping narratives. Start reading the code. Because the patterns don't lie, and the patterns are all that matter. Reflect. What's one behavior you keep repeating that contradicts everything you say you believe? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button and subscribe. Because we're just getting started. Why? The stories you tell yourself are keeping you trapped in the same loop. Let's talk about something that's going to sting a little. You're not stuck because life is hard. You're stuck because you've become addicted to your own excuses. Every single one of us has this internal PR team working overtime to make our failures sound noble, our procrastination sound reasonable, our self-sabotage sound like bad luck, and we believe it. We actually believe that we're victims of circumstances, when really, we're architects of our own stagnation. Here's the brutal reality check. Your life isn't happening to you. Your life is responding to you. Every single day, you're making micro decisions that either move you forward or keep you exactly where you are. And most of those decisions, they're on autopilot. They're programmed by years of conditioning, comfort seeking, and cognitive shortcuts. A study published in Personality Research found that people consistently overestimate their future self-control while underestimating the power of their current habits. Translation: you think tomorrow you'll be different, but tomorrow, you'll wake up with the same operating system you have today. Unless you actually reprogram it. Look at your screen time report right now. Seriously, pull it up. How many hours did you burn this week on mindless scrolling? Now, tell me again that you don't have time to work on your goals. The time exists. The discipline doesn't. And that's not a judgment. That's just data. The same goes for everything else. You say you want better relationships, but you never initiate meaningful conversations. You say you want to grow, but you avoid anything that challenges your worldview. You say you want success, but you're terrified of being uncomfortable. See the pattern? Here's what nobody tells you about change. It's not about finding yourself. It's about building yourself. And building requires demolition first. You have to destroy the comfortable narratives, the convenient excuses, the sophisticated self-deception you've been practicing for years. This isn't therapy talk. This is systems thinking. If you keep inputting the same behaviors, you're going to keep getting the same outputs. The algorithm of your life is simple. Repeated actions create patterns. Patterns create results. Results create your reality. Stop negotiating with yourself. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop creating elaborate plans that you'll never execute. Just change one thing today. One behavior, one choice, one moment where you do something different than your default programming. Act. What's one pattern you're going to interrupt today? Comment below, smash that like button, and subscribe, because we're about to go even deeper. How to decode the hidden patterns running your life on autopilot. You know what's wild? Most people are running software they didn't even install, beliefs they never questioned, habits they never chose, patterns they inherited from family, absorbed from culture, downloaded from trauma, and they wonder why life feels like it's happening on repeat. Your brain is literally designed to automate. It's an efficiency machine. Every repeated behavior becomes a neural pathway, and those pathways become highways, and those highways become your default mode of existence. The problem? Most of those highways were built when you were too young, too hurt, or too scared to choose better routes. Here's where it gets interesting. Neuroscience research shows that your brain can't tell the difference between a useful pattern and a destructive one. It just optimizes for whatever you do most frequently. So if you've been running the same self-defeating loops for years, your brain has literally wired itself to make those loops feel normal, comfortable, even necessary. That relationship pattern where you choose people who can't meet your needs, that's code. That work situation where you play small and avoid visibility, that's code. That money story where you're always struggling despite making decent income, that's code. And all of it is running in the background without your conscious awareness. But here's the game changer. Once you see the code, you can rewrite it. Not by thinking differently, not by affirming your way into a new reality, by doing differently, consistently, repeatedly, until the new behavior becomes the new pattern, becomes the new default. Most people fail at change because they're trying to edit the symptoms while leaving the source code untouched. They want different results without different actions. They want transformation without discomfort. They want to evolve without letting any part of themselves die. It doesn't work that way. Real change is violent. It requires you to betray your old self, to break promises you made to your trauma, to stop being loyal to patterns that are killing you slowly. And that's scary as hell, which is why most people choose the familiar prison over the unknown freedom. So stop asking why you can't change. Start asking what you're getting from staying the same. Because I promise you, there's a payoff. Maybe it's safety, maybe it's identity, maybe it's the comfort of knowing exactly who you are, even if who you are isn't who you want to be. The patterns are there. The data is clear. The only question is whether you have the guts to look at it and then do something about it. Decide. What pattern are you finally ready to delete from your operating system? Drop it below. Leave a like if this hit different, and subscribe because the final piece is coming. Why your repeated actions are the only truth that actually matters. Let me hit you with the final truth. Bomb. Everything you've ever done has left a trace. Every choice, every compromise, every moment of courage or cowardice. And when you compile all that data, it tells a story that's probably nothing like the one you've been telling yourself. Your life is a ledger. Income and expenses. Time invested and wasted, energy given and taken, relationships built and destroyed. And the balance sheet doesn't lie. It doesn't care about your reasons. It just shows you the math. Want to know what you actually value? Track your money for 30 days. Want to know who you actually are? Look at what you do when you're bored, stressed, or alone. Want to know where you're actually headed? Analyze your daily routine. The answers are all there, hiding in plain sight, waiting for you to stop lying and start looking. Psychological research on self-concept reveals something fascinating. People are shockingly bad at self-assessment. We rate ourselves higher on positive traits and lower on negative ones compared to how others rate us. We remember our intentions more vividly than our actions. We construct entire identities around who we wish we were instead of accepting who we actually are. But here's the liberation in all of this. You don't have to stay who you've been. The code is editable. Every single day, you get to write new lines, override old functions, debug broken logic, install better systems. Your past behaviors are data, not destiny. They show you where you've been, not where you have to stay. The trick is consistency over intensity. You don't need a massive transformation. You need small, repeated actions that compound over time. One better choice, one honest conversation, one uncomfortable moment where you do the right thing instead of the easy thing. That's how you rewrite the code. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for some external force to come save you. You're the programmer. You're the user. You're the entire system. And every moment you spend waiting is another line of code keeping you exactly where you are. The logs don't lie. Your repeated behaviors are writing your future right now. The question isn't whether you'll change. The question is whether you'll change intentionally or continue letting default patterns run your life into the ground. Read the code. Accept what it says. Then write something better. That's the evolution. That's the rebellion. That's how you actually become who you're capable of being. Commit. What's the one action you're taking today to start rewriting your code? Share it in the comments, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. The revolution starts with brutal honesty, and it continues with consistent action.